And I like the word that you use, safely, so that there is a confidence that I can share from the instructional standpoint, and from the student standpoint, I can share as well where I'm at, what I don't know, what I do know, and I'm not going to be looked at as less than because I may not know. You know, it's not me, the instructor, just saying, I have more knowledge than you. I'm giving you this knowledge, but there's a collaboration in the learning experience. And another thing that I think about that ties into that is the whole idea of getting support, that students know that it's okay to go out and get help to understand various subjects. I have a number of college students that come, and the first semester, one of the reasons why they fell out is because they won't go for tutoring. They won't go for help because they believe they came out of their high school, they were in the top 10, top 20 of their class, so they shouldn't need to get help. And so they come into college and their pride says, you know, I'm not going to go get a tutor because people look down on me. I'm not going to go meet with my instructor because the instructor will look down on me, that I had to come to office hours. And it's like going to the office hours is like going to principal's office.
Yep.
As opposed to,
me too,
you know, getting the help that they need. And so just part of it is not making assumptions about what that student coming into your college knows. And the same thing at high school, not making assumptions about what the middle school taught the high school student that you're using, working with right now. And so that whole idea of tutoring can be a negative and a positive if we allow it to. And so a lot of students that come out of certain high schools, they've been tutoring. That's the reason why they actually have the A's and B's. Mm-hmm. It's not that they were, you know, all knowing, but, you know, students get to college and think that that's a bad thing. So I just want to put that out there to those who are working with students.
Well, I think it goes back to our initial conversation, saying that we need to teach some other skills in some pivotal skills in public education in K through 12. And I would say that is one of the skills that we need to teach people. We need to teach people how to seek out support, right? We need to make it that it's okay. Mm-hmm. This is a cultural norm. It's a good thing, right? Because nobody knows everything. It's being a thirst for knowledge, but we don't. We end up punishing people for coming, like, don't bother me, or you don't know that. And I don't know. I bet it's great to be a student in your class, Dr. Jones. I bet you're just fantastic, man. I know for me, I look at myself as like a servant leader, as a servant professor, right? I care if my students aren't learning. I'm not blaming them. I'm thinking about what do I need to do more or less or differently. And sometimes I got to put on different hats. And one of those hats is that might need to inspire them. I might need to be like, you know, here's how this is going to help you, and get them fired up about it, create a want for them to want to learn this. I'm not saying they don't have agency and don't have responsibility, but when my fighters lose, the first place I look in the mirror, even if they weren't training, eating, writing, doing all these things, like, how can I be better for them? How can I inspire them? How can I move them in the right direction? I think too many people are like just looking down, right? They're putting the blame, the onus on the performer, and not looking at their performance and how that's impacting their learner.
And I think just the whole age aspect of it as well. Just because you're 18 doesn't mean that you're mature to the level of 18. You might be still at the 15-year age in terms of how you respond to situations and growth and development. So making assumptions about where a student is not a good thing. We need to make sure that we are aware of where they're at and then supporting them there to get to the next step and to help them to grow. And I think that happens in the relationship and spending time with them and connecting with them in environments outside of school. So, you know, I believe that K-12 schools, it used to be that the principals lived in the neighborhood. That's no longer the case for the most part, or the leaders lived in the neighborhood somewhere. So the students would see them throughout the week. I remember when I grew up that I would see principals and vice principals throughout the week. But I still believe that it's really important for school leaders, teachers to connect with young people in their communities. They can see them outside of the classroom, that they're real people living real lives, you know, various events that are going on. Students, I still get that at the college level. My students who are, you know, freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior, invite me to their events. And I make sure to show up because there may not be parents in their lives that are engaged in that way and support them. That's just another way of getting buy-in with some of your students, that you're there. And when you come back to the